This time, instead of flapping the lips about a German Beatles song, this one is a very simple question. How many Beatles albums are there? Now, I'm sure you're thinking, what kind of question is that, you idiot? There's 13 of them. Please Please Me, With the Beatles, Hard Day's Night, Beatles for Sale, Help, Rubber Soul, Revolver, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Magical Mystery Tour, The White Album, Yellow Submarine, Abbey Road, and Let It Be. That is what's on all the box sets, you know. And you would be right in saying this. Ever since 1987 and the CD releases, that's been the standardized listing. That's a very closed-minded answer. So to set like a proper baseline, what does the Beatles official website list as their albums? Yeah, this is certainly a list. It is technically the true answer, but I don't really feel like it's helpful, since this list is more of a what Beatles albums can you buy from us right now list, instead of a, what is the official discography list. And also the question isn't really how many Beatles albums are there in the sense that how many albums have been released under their name. It's more like what Beatles albums are like part of the listening experience and actually feature like new material. Now, is this a subjective thing? Yes. Am I anywhere near someone who should be figuring out? No. Am I still gonna do it?
Yes!
Now, back to the list thing. Now, it's alright enough until, like, Magical Mystery Tour. And, like, I don't have a problem with Magical Mystery Tour. I like it. It's a good enough album. It's probably the only Capitol album that's not, like, weird and strange and actually makes sense. But it being in the list does kind of imply that it doesn't really need to be an actual, like studio album to be included. Now, everything's fine again until after they stop making albums, because the Red and Blue album's included in this list. Now, I don't hate them. They're great compilations, they're iconic, and I do think they should be appreciated. I think they should still be sold, but they're not, albums. They're just compilations. There's nothing to them that's new, apart. So yeah, this album's pointless to be included and is probably really confusing to new fans. Now next is Past Masters. I don't mind this one. I think it's a great way to compile all the EPs and singles and random nonsense that were part of the discography that would always be kind of, if this didn't exist, be buried in like a fuck ton of different releases. So I think combining them all is a good idea. Now Live at the BBC is next, and I think this fully deserves its place in the discography. I think it's incredibly important to the history, and I think it's how much new stuff is on here. There's no reason why it shouldn't be included. I mean, this is only recording of some like cover versions that were really important at the beginning of the band anyway. So speaking of this period, the Anthology Trilogy. Now, I think this is the strongest non-Past Masters album. There isn't, one of the studio albums that should be included in the discography, since, it's these were all signed off by the remaining Beatles members. It includes new material. It includes, 2 new singles. And I think there's no reason why they shouldn't be, included, Now, we're done with all that stuff that makes sense. Now onto the Yellow Submarine song track. Now, this release features remastered and remixed albums from the film of the same name. Yeah, no, I don't think it should be included. None of the songs in this are new. And there is already a Yellow Submarine album that includes the new songs from the film. One is, get ready for this, another compilation. One was very popular when it was released. It was the first new kind of compilation they've done in a wee while. It technically is the most popular album, but I don't really think it should be one of the albums. It should be notable, it should be noted, but it should not be included. And no, the 1+ Blu-ray does not count either. Oh, look at that, Let It Be again. Yeah, but this time it doesn't have any clothes on. I do like this release. I do think it's very on the fence, I think. Granted, none of the songs in it are really new, but, they're different. And they're different in a way that's, they're intentionally different. They're supposed to be different, mixes and, feel different compared to the Super Deluxe versions, which I guess this is kind of similar to, with its bonus disc and its remixes and all that, but I don't know. It's a very debatable one. It just kind of depends what you kind of consider to be a remix and a thing, You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, don't worry, I will get onto the Super Deluxe versions. And then we got Love, the Beatles' most generic title of an album. This is a very, very strange release. It was like a sort of soundtrack album to a sort of circus show. It does feature new mixes, and they are like more different mixes than like super deluxe versions of the album. You know, it's basically a mix between a compilation and a remix, but like the songs are like merged and changed and warped and all that. I mean, I do think it's more different than like a one, but like it's still kind of just a compilation. But I don't think it should be included. But it is a DNA test in this divorce hearing. I'm just going to skip over the second BBC album, not because I don't think it should be included, just because it's pretty much the same as the first one in terms of like why it should be included and all that. If you don't include the first one, you won't include this one. If you include the first one, you include this one. Simple as. Now is Live at the Hollywood Bowl, and do ignore the fact that it says 2016, and the cover looks awful. This is an album from the 70s that they just remastered in 2016. Half for their own sake and to clean up the audio, and half because there was a film coming out they wanted to cross-promote for it, which they love doing. They love doing that. It is a live album, but I think it should be included. It was supposed to be a thing in the 60s, but they just never made it at the time. So, I mean, if this was included back then, it probably would have stayed part of the discography till now, I think. I genuinely have no fucking clue why these are listed as separate albums. Well, really just beyond the fact they want you to buy them, I guess. They're literally just re-releases with new mixes. Yeah, they include bonus material, but it's literally the exact same fucking albums. It's like listing the 4K Blu-ray release of a film as being different from the original theatrical release of a film. And I know the bonus discs that include bonus material might make my previous points seem a bit, silly. What counts as bonus material? What counts as a new album? There might be a big fat incorrect statement in this whole testimony here, but shut up. It's my video. I will bitch and complain about what I want, when I want, and how I want to. Now that that's over, let's move on. No, I don't. I refuse to talk about this one. I'm sure you all know what my points on this one are going to be, so I'm just going to move on. And finally, for fuck's sake. Yes, they include the 2024 US Albums in Mono box set as a separate album. Despite the A, it includes several albums. B, these albums are not listed separately. C, it doesn't include the Capitol albums after 1964 for no real reason. And K, these and the rest of Capitol's non-Magic Mystery Tour albums were removed from the catalogue 38 fucking years ago. So yeah, this list isn't like even good at all. Plus, even with its exuberance to include everything it can, it still doesn't include a whole host of odds and ends that I feel kind of bad for not including. It misses a collection of Beatles oldies, a massively unsuccessful compilation album made to fill out the shelves of Christmas '66 with Beatles album in the UK, several Capitol albums after 1964, these being Beatles 6, Yesterday and Today, Hey Jude, as well as the US versions of Help, Rubber Soul and Revolver. Introducing the Beatles, VJ's US repackage of Please Please Me that was so unsuccessful it caused them to no longer exist. All the themed compilations from the 70s and 80s, a la love songs, Beatle ballads, rock and roll music, etc. The copyright extension archival album, Beatle Bootleg Recordings 1963, the Tony Sheridan album, the Star Club Tapes live album, the Glyn Johns Get Back mix included in the Let It Be Super Deluxe box set. I know that may seem like a contradiction to what I said before, but I think it's worth including because it kinda is more of a new album, and some more amount of stuff that probably missed or forgotten. So yeah, there's a lot of fucking albums. There's a bit of an issue to really decide what should be considered a true proper Beatles album or not. Now there really is no answer to this that satisfies anyone, and the pedantism of the question means there really is no amount of answers. I think it's worth giving a go. So right, here's my criteria. 1. It has to be made of majorly new recordings of material not currently available in an album. 2. Its intention had to be to release something original. 3. No re-releases of already existing albums. 4. It doesn't have to have any direct involvement from the Beatles themselves beyond playing of the music. And 5. Every studio album must be included. So with that very debatable criteria, what's the list? 1. Please Please Me. 2. With the Beatles. 3. A Hard Day's Night. 4. Beatles for Sale. 5. Help, the UK one. 6. Rubber Soul, the UK one. 7. Revolver, the UK one. 8. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. 9. Magical Mystery Tour. 10. The Beatles / The White Album. 11. Yellow Submarine. 12. Abbey Road. 13. Let It Be. 14. Live at the Hollywood Bowl. 16. Live at the Star Club in Hamburg, Germany. 17. Past Messes. Past Messes Volume 1 and 2, I guess separately, but I'm going to include it as one album. 17. Live at the BBC. 18, 19, 20, the Anthology Trilogy. 21, Live at the BBC Volume 2. 22, The Beatles Bootleg Recordings 1963. And number 23, Get Back, the Rooftop Performance. It's not a perfect list, I'm sure you could pick any amount of issues with it, but I think this is the complete enough list of the true albums. Although I'm sure any Beatles fan will have different answers. UK jockeys will probably scorn at the inclusion of the Magical Mystery Tour LP. Someone out there might include the US albums or the theme compilations. Someone who died in 1964 would only include the first 4 albums. It's all a matter of debate / argument / violent kerfuffle. And let's hope whoever wins has a good list, or we may be a bit fucked. And yeah, that's all I have to say on this one. What? Do you expect me to make a grand conclusion? A thesis statement about how Apple and how everyone else's need to make money from the Beatles content has caused the discography to become a mess of cash grab compilations and remixes that go against the original accepted artistic intent, and that they just can't be done with the band and let the album stay as is? Well, fuck you, I'm not doing that. I'm not some kind of slime